That's Iggy and the Stooges off the 1973 album Raw Power, produced by David Bowie, or mixed by David Bowie, produced by Iggy, and that sort of sums up the connection between glam rock and the New York punk stuff, which were the roots of punk as much as anything. Going to play a couple more roots tracks and go into the full-on punk stuff. This is a band that was very influential, a track that was covered by a lot of people and a lot of punk bands. This is Roxy Music, way, way, way back. Album number 1, Editions of You.
Oh yeah.
couple of major players in the New York scene there. First of all, of course, the Ramones, Johnny, Joey, Dee Dee, Tommy. Track one, side one of a debut album which shook the world when it came out. It was called simply The Ramones, the original Ramones album. They released their last album this year. What was it called? Adios Amor or something?
Adios Amigos.
The very last album.
We'll be giving away some of those CDs tomorrow night at Dollhouse.
Yeah, Dollhouse down at the Box, which is part of what the show's celebrating.
We'll also be giving away some CDs tonight.
A package towards the end of the night of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 CDs.
We'll have to think of a good question.
So we're going to do it right at the end of the night. You have to have a B card, but about 1 o'clock in the morning we're going to give away a package of 9 CDs and a double pass to the Box. Is that right?
Tomorrow night.
Yeah. Okay, last track was another New York guy. That was Richard Hell and the Voidoids. Richard Hell's claims to fame, he used to be part of Television. He's also one of the original Heartbreakers with Johnny Thunders. And he was the guy that invented the ripped T-shirt and the spiky hairdo. Malcolm
McLaren couldn't persuade him to move to the UK. He wouldn't do it.
Tried to get him to join the Sex Pistols, so he found another guy called John Lydon. And the Sex Pistols' first single was released in December 1976 on EMI, Anarchy in the UK, which we played earlier on. But before they released that, there was another band, English punk band, that released a single, and they were called The Damned.
Is she really going out with him?
Real hot in this joint. I rather prefer a sauna myself. Okay, everybody, are you feeling all right? Or are you half pissed or half knackered or what? Jesus, it's fucking hot in here. Right, we should be out boozing, shouldn't we? And pogoing. It's a Saturday night, isn't it? Hello, someone's been stabbed. Like, we want to see everybody pogo, get into things, you know, sort of, you know, get it together, you know what I mean? Like, do you know what bludgeons are? They're sort of sticks which cracks a bloke's skull open, okay? And the maces are basically iron balls with chains with spikes on it, which only do some more damage than good. And basically, I got one backstage if anybody don't start pogoing and dancing and all that. So let's go, okay?
Some people think little girls should be seen and not heard, but I think, oh, bondage, up yours! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Well, we just missed the end of that one. X-Ray Specs, Polystyrene, and a track that was on the Live at the Roxy album called Oh Bondage, Up Yours. Before that was a little snippet off the Live at the Roxy album from Johnny Moped, but the song wasn't up to much, so we just used the intro piece, and that was the studio version of the single, so that was a bit of 95 editing. What's next? Buzzcocks. Off the Spiral Scratch EP. Featuring Howard Devoto on vocals. This is Boredom.
Boredom. Boredom. Ba-dum, ba-dum.
2, 3, go!
Is it quite in? Lace up your dancing boots, spray over here, clean away the tea party for a hot night in the dollhouse.
Definitely not some bullshit revival. This is where it all began. Blondie, T-Rex, Kiss, New York Dolls, Iggy and the Stooges, Ramones. You get the idea?
The dollhouse. The dollhouse. Lace up your dancing boots, spray out your hair, clear away the tea party for a hot night in the dollhouse.
Oh, you get the idea?
The dollhouse, this Thursday night at the box. Come dance and get givvies, like chocolate, CDs, toys and stuff.
The dollhouse, the box, the high street, the Thursday night.
Ow! Hurt my mouth.
Oh,
BFM.
I don't have to be here, you know. I don't have to show up here. With my vast financial holdings, I could have been basking in the sun in Florida. This is just a hobby for me. Nothing, you hear? A hobby.
the band that everyone loved to hate back in 1977. The Stranglers. They were totally uncool. One of the guys had long hair, which was an absolute no-no. They could play their instruments.
From week to week, the sentence sticking fast. Turn the corner, rub my eyes, and hope the world will last. Stranger from another planet, welcome to our hole. Just strap on your guitar, and we'll play some rock and roll. But the man is no good. Just get a grip on yourself. But the man is no good. Just get a grip on yourself. And you should
Up before that, Dictators, Handsome Dick, Manitoba.
That'd have to be even the most uncool band.
Oh, they were pretty cool, the Dictators.
But they're very underrated. I'd say they're very underrated. I mean,
That's on a very rare, what used to be a very rare album on vinyl. And it's now on CD.
King of New.
What's the album called? Go Girl Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, band called the 101ers was playing around London as part of the pub rock thing, 75, 76, with a guy called Joe Strummer as the lead guitarist, and he teamed up with a couple of guys who were in a band called London SS, and they renamed themselves The Clash. Did some demos for Polydor, and eventually signed to CBS and became mega rock stars. Filled stadiums in America, toured with The Who and all sorts of shit. And released a debut album in 77. Now, the debut album was Mick Jones, Joe Strummer and Paul Simonon, but there was a guy called Tory Crimes, or Terry Chimes was his real name, but he called himself Tory Crimes when he drummed on it. The other drummer, Nicky Topper-Heaton, did not drum on the first Clash album, so remember that, because we'll be coming back to that later on.
chance to make good. Away from the numbers, away from the numbers, is where I'm gonna be. Away from the numbers, away from the numbers, is where I am free. Is where I am free. It's where I'm gonna be. It's reality. Somebody call me on the phone. Is me home? You wanna take a walk? You wanna go and hop? You wanna go get some Chinese rock? I'm living on a Chinese rock. All my best things are in hot. I'm living on a Chinese rock. Everything is in the punch of it. The back is running off the wall. My girlfriend's crying in the shower stall. It's hot as a bitch. I should've been rich, but I'm just thinking on Chinese dick. I'm living on a Chinese rock. All my best things are in hot. I'm living on a Chinese rock. Everything is in the punch of it. The back is running off the wall. My girlfriend's crying in the shower stall. It's hot as a bitch. I should've been rich, but I'm just thinking on Chinese dick. I'm living on a Chinese rock. All my best things are in hot. I'm living on a Chinese rock. Everything is in the punch of it. I'm living on a Chinese rock. 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 I'm living on a Chinese rock.
Johnny Thunders, Jerry Nolan, and the Heartbreakers. Band that Johnny formed after he left the Dolls, or the Dolls left him. And I think Johnny sort of left everything. So
Took Jerry with him.
yeah, it's got a bunch of guys on the front cover looking very, very sad and very sick. And that was Chinese Rocks, which is the last track on side one of LAMF, Like a Motherfucker. And what are we going to say about that? Well, it was written by Dee Dee Ramone, Richard Hell, Jerry Nolan, and Johnny Thunders. That was like a who's who of New York.
That was a band that toured when Sex Pistols was touring in the UK. And
Yeah.
they visited the UK, and they had Sex Pistols sort of play with them as well.
Yeah, well, they actually toured at one stage when the Pistols were banned from playing as well. And their manager was a guy called Lee Childers. And Lee Childers thought, well, if the Pistols are banned, I'll get out there and do it. And the strange thing about that record was it was on Track Records, which is a label that was owned by The Who, of all people. No one else would release it. Worst pressing of all time, I think,
So they remixed it 10 years later.
and changed the track order. Okay, what have we got now? This is a guy who went on to become something fairly nasty. He became a bit of an idol, Billy Idol. But back in '76, he was part of something called the Bromley Contingent, who were like the Sex Pistols followers. They followed them from gig after gig after gig. Joined a band called Chelsea, fired the lead singer of Chelsea, changed his name to Generation X, and this was their debut single. followed by a great record, Miss Groupie Supreme, Debbie Harry, Ex-Stilettos. Yeah, been around for years, can't get rid of her these days. Off their first album, which was called Blondie, that was Blondie and Rip the Shreds. We're going to play some one-off singles now. Bands that didn't mean much, but they were part of the whole punk movement. This is the Cortinas on Step Forward Records from early 77. Back to Strict Later.
Cool.
thinks he's tough. She's a bitch, here's a path. Yeah, yeah, it's not fair. Yeah, yeah, it's not fair. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. I'm so upset. Yeah, yeah. I ought to smash his face in. Yeah, but he's bigger than me, isn't he? I know. I'll get the mate Parry to it.
That was Jilted John from the north of England, from Manchester, with a track called Jilted John, and there was a follow-up for a guy called Gordon the Moron, who sort of did the answer record on a record label called Rabid Records. Up before that, the Adverts, who were from Devon and West England, single they did for Stiff Records called One Step Wonders, and they had a lead singer called Gay Advert and a drummer called Lorry Driver, and he claimed it was his real name. I don't believe a word of it. They banned it in Britain, but it still went to number one.
God save the Queen, the fascist regime. It made you a moron, potential hate bomb. God save the Queen, she ain't no human being.
Turning round and concentrating the resting grace with sustain leisure, cutting death, so will I do. Stop dash, stop dash, stop dash, stop dash, stop dash, stop dash, stick dash, stick dash, stick dash, stick dash, stick dash, stick dash, stop 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 crash, stop crash, stop crash, stop crash, stop crash, stop crash, stop crash. you go. Oh, and I walk, and then I walk. I twist, and then I twist. And I shimmy, and then shimmy. And I fly, and then fly. Well, we're out there having fun in the warm California sun. Well, we're out there having fun in the warm California sun.
It's a suspect device that left 2,000 dead. The solutions are our problems. They put up the wall. On each side, time to prime us and ensure we get sort out. They play their games of power. They cut them up the pack. They peel us to the bottom. But what do they put back? Don't believe them, don't believe them. Don't think that twice. You gotta suspect their eyes. They take away our freedom in the name of liberty. Why can't they all just clear up? Why can't they let us be? They make us feel indebted for saving us from hell, and then they put us through it. It's time the bastards fell. Don't believe them, don't believe them. Don't think that twice. You gotta suspect their eyes. Don't believe them, don't believe them. Question everything you're told. Just take the road around you and the madness it's like. Why can't we take over and try to put it right? Don't believe us, don't believe us. Don't think that twice. You gotta suspect their eyes. You're a suspect device if we do what we are told. But a suspect device can score a goal. I'm a suspect device. The army can refuse. You're a suspect device. We know they can refuse. We're gonna blow up in the face.
Well, if you've gone up to the Globe Hotel or Zwines or a whole lot of places in 78, 79, you would have heard the Tearaways playing that tune. That was Suspect Device, Stiff Little Fingers, who came from Northern Ireland, Belfast to be precise. And it was a single on Rough Trade. It was on their own label actually called Rigid Digit, through Rough Trade. And before that, New York's finest, the Ramones, with a track called California Sun, which is off their second album called The Ramones Leave Home. And we sort of figured out back in 77 that they were wearing the same jeans on the front cover of the first and the second album, but the holes in the knees had got bigger. Here's XTC from 77. Science Friction.
I look out my window at night. I see the stars and filled with rain. I have a feeling something's looking Hear the aliens that I put on my bed. That's for the aliens inside my head. I have a feeling something's looking
wish she was mine. She looks so good. I wanna hold her tight. Get teenage kicks right through the night. I'm gonna call her on the telephone. Have her over 'cause I'm all alone. I need excitement, oh I need it bad. And it's the best I've ever had. I wanna hold her tight. Get teenage kicks right through the night. I wanna hold her tight. Get teenage kicks right through the night.
Big or Sharky and the Undertones, another band from Ireland. I think were they from Belfast or Northern or Southern? I can't remember. I think they were Northern Ireland. Anyway, that was a single that came out on their own. Well, it wasn't their label; it was their manager's label, I think, called Good Vibrations. In 1978, they signed to Sire and had lots and lots of hits after that, and then went off and broke up into several bands. That Petrol Emotion and Fegel went solo, and God knows what happens. Anyway, talking of bands breaking up, after the Buzzcocks' first EP, Howard Devoto left, formed a band called Magazine. First single was shot from both sides, and the 7-inch version was not the version on the album. They lost the master tapes. 7-inch version is actually a lot better, and here it is.
This or that lady must be the same. When it's big balls, just what's real. When it given to understand, it's exactly what I feel. I want my way into the heart of the crowd. Went my way into the heart of the crowd. I was shocked to find what was allowed. I didn't lose myself in the crowd. Shots, by no sides, on the run, to the outside of everything. Shots, by no sides.
Howard Devoto and Magazine with their debut single. Okay, while all this sort of stuff was happening over in the UK, there were things happening outside of America and Britain. We've already had a Kiwi punk special last year, so we may well repeat that, but we're not going to play any New Zealand stuff tonight. It's a show unto itself. But there was stuff happening in Australia. We're going to play a couple of things that came out of Australia in 77, 76.
Ode to the Stooges. Band Radio Birdman.
Sydney was a bit of a sort of punk desert for a long time, but there were one or two bits and pieces that came out, and this is one of them. I have an album called Radios Appear. This is Radio Birdman, and we've got the Saints up after this. Welcome, Dano. That's Aloha, Steve and Dano. Radio Birdman. We're going to stick with the Australian stuff now. This is the Saints.
Yeah. When I was a young boy, he found a puppy that always followed me around. I'm gonna be just as faithful as a puppy. If baby, no, never let you down. Because my look gets stronger, honey, every day. And it gets deeper, darling, along that face. And it gets higher, baby, yeah. And darling, dude, I love you, honey, my. Yeah, river deep, and that is high. Yeah. I lost you, baby, would I cry? You can bet your life now, baby, my little baby. Alright, come on now, take it. Yeah. Oh, yes, son. Baby, don't you know that I want your love and I want it right now? Little baby girl, don't you know I want it right now? I can't just wait another old man longer for your loving. I can't stand it. A little baby girl, don't you know I want your love and I want it right now? That I love you, baby, like them robin love the same. And I love you, darling, like them flowers love the spring. And I love you, baby, like a newborn love the fire. And I love you, baby, river deep, a mountain high. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Yeah. I love you, honey, my. Yeah, river deep, a mountain high. Yeah. I lost you, baby, would I cry? You can bet your life now, baby, my little baby. Red, white witch, second to none. Little city lady looking for fun. Said, coming over, I know your name. Just try talking, silly boys again. This is something, this is fine. Another year, change the name. Get it all, just talk too much. I'm only talking to the boys again. Met you last in an
You're on 95 BFM Wednesday night special, which, as you may well have guessed, is a punk special, 76 to 78, the authentic punk period. And that was a band called Swell Maps, who recorded for Rough Trade Records. A guy called Nicky Sudden was the main man. I think that was their second single, called Dresden Style.
Also, tomorrow night, it's almost tonight, Thursday night at the Box, there's the Dollhouse, which will be playing punk music and glam, new wave, and if you just get into all that kind of music, we're going to be having giveaways, lots of chocolate. I've got too much chocolate to give away, so come down and check that out. It's $5 with a B card, $7 without.
And talking of giveaways, we've got some giveaways coming up after the next song. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 CDs. We thought it was 9, but that's because we had a couple of beers. Here's Sham 69. Angels with Dirty Faces.